I will let you, with your buttery biscuit voice,
Oh, okay.
announce our last speaker of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present 19-time world champion Flair bartender and all-around living legend, Christian Delpech. This is a very exciting moment for me. Okay, so from those that were dropping bombs to those that do not drop
Anything
anything.
except knowledge.
Christian.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. First and foremost, thank you very much for coming over. Monica, thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much to the Campari Academy, to the hotel for the hospitality. Everything has been great. So it's time to talk about how Flair enhances and amplify bartending skills. When Monica approached me about this, I automatically thought in my mind, I'm like, it's a big yes. And the reason why is because no one ever talked about how Flair actually influence in the everyday bartending. So we're gonna break it down a little bit. So basically Flair, that's a definition if you go to the dictionary. It's a special or instinctive attitude or ability for doing something well, stylishness, and originality. Therefore, everyone in this room, the bartenders, actually Flairs. Yeah, you can see when you go to see these two working at the Connaught bar, you see the way they pour a martini is stylish. It is 100% Flair, 100%. It's not just someone will just pour it directly. They just pour it amazingly, stylish looking. It's so difficult, but yet make it look so easy. So that is Flair. And by the way, I was a Flair bartender, so for the record. And I use that as an example because a lot of bartenders nowadays, they have great techniques, and at one moment they did practice Flair. So how Flair influence on modern bartending? Awareness of the importance of training and discipline. This is a huge one. When you start flaring, there is no such a thing of, okay, I'm gonna show up to work next day and I'm just gonna flare. And the skills are just coming. No, you have to go home and practice on your own time. So you develop a skill of discipline, sacrifice, determination. And if you apply this to an everyday bartending, it will amplify your skills and completely improve them in anything you do. For example, how many of you have ever taken like a bar spoon, a mixing glass, ice, and when you're home, you stir? Yeah, there you go. We have one. So Giorgio, and you can tell. So, but what you're doing is that obviously, if you do it within years of bartending, you're gonna stir like a champion. You're gonna stir fast and very easy and smooth. However, if you would take the first day that you work in, you take a glass ice and you're home where you're watching TV, in front of TV, one hand, the other hand, and then you try both. In 1 week, you will look like a pro, like you've been doing it for a very long time. Just that one technique, yeah? So with that being said, Flair bartenders, myself at least, when I started bartending, I was practicing like probably 6 to 8 hours a day. Crazy. Then as you improve, you manage your time. So you practice less, but you know exactly where you're going to practice. So you practice with purpose, let's say. So the discipline, if you take that discipline into bartending, is phenomenal for any technique. Shaking, throwing, taking the use of bar tools to the next level. So this is another one. So as Flair bartenders, when you do Flair, when you practice Flair, you go to the supermarket and you flip stuff. You go to the shower, you flip the shampoo. You do a presentation and you flip the control. I mean, it's the way you do things. So when you grab a bar tool, you always, okay, I have a jigger, okay, what can I do with this? And you do something different because that is in their nature. And we're going to talk about how that influence on the perception of the guest. But from a bar spoon, from a napkin, because Flair, you can actually Flair with anything behind the bar. You can Flair with a credit card. You can Flair with a pen. You can Flair with a napkin. Ice. You have to pour a drink in a glass. If you have to open a beer, then you can flip the bottle opener. So there's always something that you can do behind the bar with the things that you have. So doing Flair, you're gonna find a way to do something interesting. This one is a huge one, the ability to multitask. So multitasking, it's a big word and we all use it all the time. And so technically, obviously we multitask, but we cannot pay attention to multiple things at this, a full attention to multiple things at the same time. So, for instance, if you're driving and you're talking on the phone, you even paying attention to the road or you paying fully attention to the conversation. If it's just a chat, no problem, because you might miss things and it's okay. But if you're having a serious conversation or things that requires you to focus and answer a real question, then you're gonna miss the road. The same thing happens when you work behind the bar. So they say, like, scientifically, if you multitask, you're more likely exposed to make mistakes. And unfortunately, in our job, we have no choice. We have to multitask. And we are the kings of it. We all multitask behind the bar. And as managers, because you're always looking around, you're looking at the lights, you're looking at the music, you're looking at the floor, that everything is clean, the guest is taken care of. It's hospitality. You need to be always aware of everything. But multitasking in Flair bartending, which also translates to techniques behind the bar, is one thing that is very interesting. What I thought about it is is basically diversing your attention to one object back and forth. So the key of success for doing that is try to focus on the right one at the right time, if that makes sense. For example, if I'm stirring and I'm pouring a drink in a glass at the same time, which one do you think I will pay more attention to? The pouring, right? Because stirring, the spoon is not going anywhere. This becomes so natural to us, so we don't even think about it. But we need to pour inside the glass. So we're paying attention to that. Same thing happens with Flair. So when you have two objects, and if I'm doing one object, for example, I'm throwing a shaker and a bottle through it, and the bottle never leaves my hand, I will not focus on the bottle because this move is going there all the time, and I'm not releasing anything. Now the shaker is going to be in the air for a split second. So I need to pay attention to this because I need to catch it. So you always focus on the things that are not naturally, or the things that are harder at that very moment, if that makes sense. So in this picture, you can see she's focused. She doesn't want to get hit in the head. So she's moving, but she's aware of everything. This picture says a lot. So now, as you can see, like my right hand, I have the bottle. I'm doing this move where I'm swiping through the shaker. The shaker is doing a shadow pass, which means it goes behind my neck, and I catch it over here. The bottle is right here. So I'm paying attention. If you see, I'm paying attention to the shaker. Where does the shaker go? Because this bottle, I'm not losing it at any moment. And it could be any bottles or with any shape because I'm not releasing it. So that's another question that always comes up in Flair. Is like, can you Flair with any bottle? Yes, you can. So that move, you can do it with any bottle, any shape. If you can grab it, you can do it. So with a brick, you can do it. So throw the bottle, so you pay attention exactly to what's most important, per se. If you guys have any questions, and at any point, please let me know. Flair Skills helps with scanning. Have you ever seen, obviously, the GOAT, the most famous person in the world at this moment, Lionel Messi? So if you look at Messi, one of the keys of success that he has, every time he's going to receive a ball, he's scanning and looking multiple times before the ball gets to him. And I'm talking about when the ball is already coming. He's looking. He's scanning the room. What is he doing? Before he receives the ball, he already knows his next move and the counter move that is coming after. So he knows he's going to pass the ball and the ball is going to receive it over there afterwards. We, as bartenders, we are scanning constantly. And Flair does help you with this because when you have multiple objects in your hand and it's a coordination, it opens part of your brain that you don't know what's going on, but you paying more attention to things and you're aware of your surrounding automatically. So you, by nature, you are scanning already. So we use scanning at the bar at all times. So as soon as we're making a cocktail, the more ability that we have with our hands, the more freedom we have with our upper body. See, like when you, and since I have the corner bar right here, Agos and Giorgio, when they doing the martini service, if you pay attention, as they pour in, it's like a magic strain comes out of the glass, and he's like, yeah, whatever. Hi, how are you? Yeah, all good? Yeah. And the other one is doing the beautiful presentation with the lemon and the essence. Now, that attention, that means like this move, he has it to perfection. So there's nothing to worry about because it's happening. And the same thing is when you work behind the bar, and the same thing is when you Flair. When you Flair, at the beginning, you obviously worried when you start practicing because, oh, what move am I gonna do? Oh, how is this gonna work? But once you learn the moves and you have your mini routines in your head, you just do, you don't think. It's like, for example, if I would tell you, you just come out of school, bartending school, and you have to make a Manhattan. And you'll be like, okay, Manhattan. You're like, okay, is that right? Sweet vermouth and Angostura bitters. Yeah, okay. 2, 1, 2. Okay, so stir. So all your recipe comes to your head. Once you're a pro, I tell you a Manhattan, it's a Manhattan. You don't think, you just do. This is the same thing. If a dancer listens to music and he dances, it doesn't have to build anything in the head. Flair is exactly the same. Once you master the techniques, you just do. Yeah? And that obviously helps you, obviously scanning, and it takes us to the next point, which is thinking a step ahead. Because while you're doing Flair, you know what the next move is, so you can combine them together. So first, when you learn Flair, you learn different moves and basic moves. Now, then you put them together into a routine. And that's the beauty and the challenging part. And you can change them, and you have, like, for example, 10 moves, and you can combine them in many different ways. And just changing a body movement, just changing a spin, or the order of the moves, it makes many different routines, right? So you are constantly thinking ahead of what are you going to do. That will help us and give us advantage into the next point, which is speed and free pouring. When we do speed, sometimes people think speed is whoever's the fastest. Of course, it has to do with what the word said is speed, but speed is not necessarily always a speed. If we're going to build a cocktail, you can move as fast as you can. But if you make mistakes while you're moving fast, and I'm moving just regular at this speed, I will make the drink faster if I don't make any mistakes, if I capitalize my time. So if I'm pouring one, or if I'm multi-pouring, let's say if I'm free pouring, and I cut first the bottle that I'm supposed to cut, while I'm cutting the second, I'm grabbing the other one. As I'm pouring this one, I'm leaving this one. And then when I'm leaving this one, I'm thinking about grabbing the shaker, the other shaker to top it. As soon as I grab it, I leave this bottle, I ice it up, close it. So I did all those many things, but I'm thinking always ahead. And the secret of speed, when I used to do bartending competitions, Legends of Bartending was one of the biggest competitions in the world. and prestigious because we had to Flair, we have to do working Flair with full bottles, and then we also have to do free pour test, and then we also have to do speed rounds. And speed rounds, the key, and I developed a technique for the round that it was always thinking ahead, but always dividing. So I don't have to multitask so much. So if you divide, for example, a speed round and this works the same way as if you work in a service bar. So if you have like 6 drinks and you have to think of 6 drinks at a time, there's a lot of ingredients that are going in. Now, if you divide it in 2s or in 3s, then it's half. So you have to think on half once, and then the other half you complete. It's gonna take the same time. Obviously, sometimes you might have to grab a bottle twice, but you're not gonna make mistakes. The errors are not, because you don't practice speed rounds in real time. When you're at work, you don't practice this many times, so you know you have to use a vermouth 4 times. No, you're just making the cocktails as they come. So you kind of like build around in your head. But you always, the secret is to always think ahead. What am I doing next? And free pouring, Flair bartending, is because you are doing things with your hands. You are always developing anything that is motions becomes easier. So in Flair bartending as well, we practice pours and cuts. So when you pour in and then you cut in, and it's like perfect cut. All the liquid goes in, and it's a beautiful thing. Like the way you do your martini, that you pour up and you go boom, and it's like someone cut the string in the air and magically drops into the glass. That is so difficult. Like so many people think it's very, very easy, and they try the first thing when they're doing it with a pour spout, they do this, boom, all over their face. Because it's not that easy. It is technique, it takes practice. So we do practice, and as you practice Flair, you flip stuff, everything becomes easier. There is a reason why a lot of tennis players, their coaches, they teach them how to juggle. And Flair bartending, all the moves from Flair, they come from juggling, in a way. So when you do juggling, you are developing more skills, like motor skills. And that obviously will help you with free pouring. Free pouring also, you have to count as you free pour. So you're not only paying attention why you pour in, the technique that it doesn't spill, how you're gonna cut it, but you also have to know how much goes in without making a mistake, so you don't over pour. Goes the same way with a jigger. If you're gonna pour in a jigger, it's easier. You have more control with your hands. It's a very, I noticed all this when I started working more on my craft cocktail techniques and making classics more than, I used to work in Las Vegas for 10 years, and all I made was mixed drinks in a plastic cup. It was all about the show. It was about the party. It was an amazing experience. However, when you start bartending and making real cocktails, everything changes. But I noticed like a lot of techniques, stirring, shaking, double shaking, it becomes easier because of what you do with Flair bartending. This is a video of what we're talking about speed. So see, that's full speed. So that's full speed. This means service last week. Oh wow, Campari. Nice. That's perfect. Thank you very much. So that is a technique that I developed. So I grab, instead of 1 bottle at a time, you go 1, 2, 3. In this case, I pop 2 bottles as one, and I just count it, pop, 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 instead of pop, pop, pop. So it goes faster. Obviously, they need to be together. You need to grab, so you need some technique of grabbing it and then open 2 at a time. And I'll show you another video, and I'll show you the example, because this is only 2, but this is done in 2.6 seconds. So that was a challenge that we did in Las Vegas. So if it was a bartender convention and we did a challenge, if someone beat me opening beers, they would get a prize. And no, they didn't. I'm going to show you in the next reel. So I'm going to go from less to more, where I was talking about free pouring and about pouring and cuts. So how you use, and yeah, that's me with no hair. And so I start from the very basic and I just upscale it as it goes. So that's basically just a regular cut. I'm gonna do double, back and forth. This is with a bounce. No, the next one is with a bounce. Bounce and stop. The liquid, and now we go more fancy. Bounce, boom. Flip, pay attention on the tin.
You never forget this mic.
You never. Straight up with style. I forgot that. So see, all those moves that I perform in there, they can be done with, some of them they could be done with any bottle. Some of them require certain shape bottles. Campari is great for it, by the way. So when you have to pour into a glass, let's say you have to pour 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces. You're gonna make a Campari soda and we make it 2 ounces because we like Campari. And so we do 2 ounces. You have to count to 8, right, in my head. So every time I count, it doesn't matter which way I pour it, still an 8 count have to go in. So it's exactly the same as if the shaker stays there and I'm pouring this way, or if the shaker does this. The liquid is coming. It's coming out, I'm still counting. When I cut, and the liquid is there. So I'm not wasting any time whatsoever unless you're doing maybe like a nice roll with it, like the last move I did, that you waste your time, but you gain it with an extra show. Obviously, also Flair, you cannot, so you perform it anywhere, and it's been a success in my end everywhere I went and I performed Flair. People did like it. So I performed Flair in party bars, nightclubs, pubs, 5-star hotels, and everyone loves it. It's just the beauty of you can capture people's attention within 10 seconds without saying a word. It's a beautiful tool that you can use. I call it like a superpower, but you can turn it on and off if you want to, however you want to. Yeah. So what I was saying about the flair that matches, you need to match your flair to the place that you work. Sometimes if the place is like busy and it's a party place, you can go a little bit off. But if the place is more like quiet, classy, stylish, piano playing in the back, jazz, cuts are beautiful to do because you have to pour. There's no noise. You cut and everything flows. Everything is beautiful. Flair skill improves hand-eye coordination. So in hand-eye coordination is what I was referring to before, shaking, double stirring. So you can do multiple things at the same time, like a double shake, double stir, shake and stir. Reaction time, think about when you're working in a very small station and it's 2 bartenders. So you need to know how to dance in that case. So the way you move, you need to have the reaction time perfectly so you can move your arm in and as the other one moves the arm out. So you also need to know what movements the other person is gonna do. So all that coordination, Flair will definitely help you with this. Reflexes, this is something super cool that it happens like any given day. Like if someone is throwing you something at you and you're not used to it, first thing you're gonna freak out. So if I throw you this control, you're gonna be boom. But if you Flair, someone throws you a control, you just stand there, you catch it. Just as simple as that. It's that easy. And it happens to me like sometimes, and this happens to me a lot, and also on the bar. Sometimes cleaning or you're doing something, and with my hand, automatically I touch a glass. And I capture that moment, I feel it right away, and I stop. And the glass is like bending, so the glass is like this. I touch it, stop, and I go grab it and put it back. And, you know, hoping that I guess saw it. And I'm like, did you see that? Did you see that? Because people, you know, people love that. They're like, wow, what did you do? And it's just natural thing that happens to you because you're so used to being in contact with objects, objects flying, objects rolling in your body. So it's a different thing. It feels different. Spatial awareness. So that's basically, it's an awareness that, about all the objects that are around you. So you're organized awareness about all the objects around you, and also the awareness of your body's position in there. And that we'd always do behind the bar is extremely important. As a Flair bartender, when I walk into a bar and I have to perform, first, as soon as I walk in, I'm scanning everything, but I know how much space I have. I know what I can do, what I cannot do right away. So you are always aware of spaces, and I am guarantee you, like if I'm working and I'm flaring and someone's coming, I know. I will stop, I will make a move, maybe stall, look, come, walk through, and then you continue. When we work in Las Vegas in Carnival Court, it was a beautiful thing, even though we make mixed drinks, but a lot of people would come and visit us because it was just such an entertaining bar. The way we interact with each other, our barbacks, they knew every single bartender that was behind the bar. They knew all the moves that they did. They knew their routines. Therefore, they know, okay, after this move, it comes this one. When he stops, I'm walking behind. Because the barbacks still have to do their job, but they have to do it around you. Because you're flipping bottles, that's the entertainment of the bar. And you as a Flair bartender, or as a bartender performing Flair, you throw in the bottle, and you need to know when someone's coming, bottle is, shake it in the air, you know someone's coming, grab it, and then you either pour or you stop for a second. The person walks by. And that synergy behind the bar was something that I've never experienced again. It was just such a beautiful thing because it's just magical to see. It's like an orchestra. It's like everything flows perfect. Strategic thinking and concentration. Strategic thinking is basically as soon as you receive something, you receive an order, you build it in your head, and again, everything goes together with the eye coordination, and then we'll see when this drink is going first, and then I'm gonna do that one, and as I'm going in there, you make a plan in your head already. When I'm going in there, I grab the beer that I have to grab, as well as I grab the spirit so I can pour it in front of the guest. So you always have a plan thinking. So you make it always a strategic thinking, and you try to obviously concentrate. Concentration obviously goes with focus. When you flip bottles, you better be concentrated. Yeah, so you don't hit yourself in the head, and you don't hit anybody else as well. So your concentration and your focus is extremely ridiculous. And obviously the focus goes away when you don't flare as much. Like before, I used to be able to remember like crazy orders, and probably now it's a little bit harder because I don't flare as much, and I also don't bartend 5 days a week like I used to. But it's all practice. It's all about practice. But it will definitely, Flair improves your concentration and your ability of focusing. Confidence and athletic abilities. That speaks for itself. And here's when I talked to you before about perception, right? So I can have the best mixology next to me or next to a Flair bartender. and I can have a Flair bartender right next to the mixologist. And a random guest walks into the bar, and they see how the bartender, with confidence, because he knows all the moves as well as the mixology. But the way he's using the tools and flipping them, automatically people will be, this guy knows what he's doing. I swear to God, because I've heard that when I was working in Carnival Court making Roman Cokes. And I'm like, no, I mean, yes, I know.
Your elegance is
No, but it's, I consider, I like to say I'm a bartender that cares. So I'm not like a mixologist, I'm not a Flair bartender. I'm a bartender that cares and can do multiple things, and also be hospitable, and also good customer service and taking care of the guests as much as they need. But the confidence I will give you, it will affect the perception of the guest, because you're doing everything and because you practice it so much. When you have practice, practice makes perfection, or almost perfection. You can make a mistake here and there, like everyone, but it will give that perception. It's crazy, but it does happen. And obviously, athletic abilities, because you're working with your body, so it's kind of like a workout per se. This is when I was working in Mr. Coco. In the grand opening, we popped a lot of Dom Perignon. So after that, I decided to make this video. So it was cool. I thought it was like a 007, in a tuxedo. And what does it take to Flair? This is a question that it comes a lot, all the time. Is how many hours of practice? My answer always is, how bad do you want it? It's the same if I tell you, you want to learn about classic cocktails. I want to learn about spirits. How long does it take? How bad you want it? How much you want to read? How much you want to research? That's totally up to you. Of course, you cannot practice Flair 24 hours, but you can practice 8 hours if you want. Obviously, you're going to improve and you're going to work. This is about putting hours of practice. Yeah? Obviously, with time, at the beginning, you can practice a lot, but then with time, your focus changes. So it's better. You're going to be more focused if you work less hours. If you train less hours, but you know exactly what you're training. And that changes a lot too. It's like if you read for a very long period of time, then you lose your focus. But if you read a few hours, that's okay. Do I need to be coordinated to Flair? Not at all. I mean, I've seen people that you're like, no, it's not gonna make it. and they competed, actually it was a good friend of mine, Juan Llorente. He's the one that I work with in Shadow Bar, and I moved with to Las Vegas. And he was this guy that is very rustic, but something like, and he's like, so I'm like, okay, cool. And he was juggling, and he was like, and he practiced so much, super smooth, and he became world known. I mean, he was in world finals. We won world championship together as tandem. So he was amazing, an amazing bartender as well. So I always give him as an example, but it's about how much you want it. Do you want to put time into it? You can learn how to do it. And also, one thing that you have to consider when people see Flair bartending, they're like, oh my God, but I won't be able to do that. I don't want to do all that. When you see like a bartending competition, be like, no worries, you won't. These guys are like top pros. You can, if you want to, if that's what you're looking for. But it's the same thing like if I go to a gym and I want to be a bodybuilder, a Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, in a match, in a bodybuilding competition, and I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. No, it takes a lot of practice, and even though you don't know if you're going to make it. So this is exactly the same. How bad do you want to learn Flair? What's your purpose? How do you want to use it? So if you want to use it for work, there you go. So you can practice, and you can learn it quickly, and you can apply it to work. You don't have to be practicing 8 hours a day in that case, which is what I recommend, because I believe in working Flair which I call nowadays functional flair, which is the best, because at the end of the day, the guests, they want their drink. You can entertain them, but the attention time that you're gonna get from the guests is smaller and smaller, especially now with social media and TikTok. That you want to say 1, 2, 3, next. You know, you don't see like, you don't stand there looking at somebody doing something for so long. So you need to get to the point, and you need to get that cocktail done. That cocktail needs to be done, it needs to be properly done, with the right technique, the right dilution. At the end of the day, the final product speaks for itself. It doesn't matter what you did before. You can be a stand-up comedian, make a lot of jokes, you can dance behind the bar, you can flair, but okay, let me taste that martini. Is it good? Yeah, we're good. At the end of the day, it's a final product, right? So what is your goal? That is the other question that I would ask if someone asked me, how many hours? Yeah. So if you want to use it behind the bar, beautiful. And Flair right now, it has a massive comeback, and people is very interested in Flair because there are not many Flair bartenders, at least in US. In Miami, where I live. In Vegas, yes, still. But in Miami, there's not many. Because people stop doing it, there's no competitions, there's no money, so they don't do it. But people want to learn, and they want to use it. And the interest that I get is from people that is into cocktails. They want to learn Flair, just to use those quick tricks, functional, and make good cocktails with it. This is something funny that I thought, because it also has Campari in it. So they approached me, so I got my beer longer because they approached me for this product in Instagram, and they say, can you do something? And obviously, this is what I told you before, that every time you go to the shower, you flip your shampoo, or you go to the supermarket, you flip stuff. So I decided to make this video, and so flipping things. This is a funny one. That's a rush, and then, okay, there you go. I made that one up, by the way. And then at the end, so it's basically me getting ready to post a video, and with a scary face, like, am I gonna drop it? Boom. There you go. So that's, and you see, like, those are simple, like, bar spoon moves. But when people see that, this is another thing about Flair bartending. When people see something, and sometimes you think or you feel that you only know 10 tricks, think about they don't know any. So you are a superstar. If you master 10 tricks and you do them to perfection, you're a rock star, because you know how to use them, when to use them. Use Flair as an asset behind the bar to your convenience at the right moment. Be versatile, and remember that outstanding customer service is always the most important. Always keep yourself humble. Don't let people's compliments get to your head, and don't let their criticism get to your heart. I really love that one, because, thank you. I really love that one. It's something that sometimes we take it personal, and if someone tells you, oh, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, I just say thank you. I acknowledge, I don't say no, because maybe for that person, you're the best they've ever seen. It doesn't matter of opinion, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe that I'm the best. I'm like, I take the compliment, thank you very much, like, oh, you look good, and some people might think, oh, you look ugly. It doesn't matter. So it's about taking the compliment, but not let it go to your head, as well as when they criticize you, people is gonna talk, always. There's always somebody who's gonna talk bad about you, or they're not gonna like something that you do. Imagine if we care about what everybody's saying at all times, then we go crazy. So we need to be us, we need to be ourselves. And before I finish, I'd like to talk about something that is the most important thing in life, is something that once you lose it, you cannot get it back, which is time is the most important thing, and it was my pleasure to spend mine with you. Thank you.
Wow.
That was super exciting.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think, I mean, a lot of people who have never had experiences with Flair, or bartenders certainly, they will say that, oh, they don't need to go down that route. But I would say that one of the things that you can instantly recognize in someone who has had that training is, as you say, the spatial awareness. Because some of the younger generation, not younger,
These kids these days.
Some bartenders, when they step inside behind the bar, they come in like a wrecking ball, have no awareness of other people moving around. They just like bam, bam, bam. And you just like, oh, wow, okay. We are going to work together. So like learning how to control your body is like either flaring or yoga, I found, are the two things that will give people that control over their own physique.
Yes, and you see that sometimes like people will rush you, and if you don't pay attention, they could hurt you. I mean, if you step in like weak, they can run you over and you can fall. You can get cut with a push spout. You can, many things. So it's extremely important to know your surroundings and to know who's behind you. If someone comes behind you, the communication is a non-verbal communication that you have behind the bar. So even if I work Flair or no Flair, every time I go behind someone, I go behind you, behind. And if it's too loud, I touch them. I touch them in the shoulder. If I'm on a stay and I'm going under to the fridge, I will go down, I will touch the back of your leg and hold it. So you know I'm still there. And I release when I'm moving. So that protects me and protects you. So you don't go back and then you trip and you fall.
Exactly.
And it seems like very common, but common sense is not common anymore.
No, and I think that a lot of those old cues that we grew up with back in the days, they are disappearing because there's different generations of bartenders working, and if you've never been taught these things, just a simple behind or touch.
I'm
obviously
a
not
touch
punch,
on the back person. If they try to move when I'm going past them with something, I just won't let them move. I'm just like you're staying there. You're not going anywhere. That's for your protection. Otherwise, I'll go through you.
It comes so automatic. Like sometimes I'm in the supermarket and I'm like behind and people look at me. It's just something automatic.
Yeah.
But also I think that because I was reading this report about how much time does it take to get good at something. And I think most of us
10,000 hours.
Okay, so most of us have heard this report that says it needs 10,000 hours. So in the Harvard Business Review, they say 10,000 hours is already not enough for the new generations, because if you only do something 10,000 hours, there's a lot of people that will have outdone you by 10,000 hours. So if you want to be really good at something, you need to invest at least a double. Right?
Okay.
Yes?
God,
so this is what they say now.
It's not fair.
Yes.
Christian gave two amazing lessons, which is despite the flair and the greatness that you need to inspire our generation. I was training as well 6 hours a day. I didn't get as good as as you, but I think I still got something into my veins when I move around. But two great lessons was based on 10,000 hours plus 10,000 hours. Is you say at the end, if you want something, how bad you want it. And what you say at the beginning, you say you need to practice in your own time. So your own time is 10,000 hours. Work time is 10,000 hours. That's what makes you good. You don't practice, you don't study during work hours, because you want to grow as a professional, as a person, to build a future for yourself.
Of course.
So I think those two messages that you gave was super powerful.
Thank you.
For all of us that were in the same field of work in the same generation, but moreover for the one that look at us like we made it. It's easy. It wasn't easy.
It wasn't
it's
easy.
not
at all.
easy
No.
for them either. So 10,000 plus 10,000 make it fairly good.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. And for the new generation, this is a challenge that I see. I don't like the word problem that much. So I see this challenge that they're going through is they want everything now. I want to learn how to flare. I want to learn in a week, and that's not going to happen. You have to go through your hours.
It's not the Matrix. You can't just download it.
Absolutely, exactly. They're like, download the Flair experience.
Like Neo. I can flare.
By the way, I did that in a show. I was Neo, and they download the power of Flair, and that's my friend. It was a cool show. It was fun. But that's the challenge nowadays. I see happening a lot, and they have no patience. It's basically the patience, and also not only the patience is the entitlement that they carry sometimes, and they want to see themselves succeed overnight or in 6 months, right? Period. And you're like, whoa, but you've been working for 6 months in this amazing cocktail bar. You learn a lot. I mean, how come you're not happy about it or comfortable? I know you want more, and it's fine. You can practice, you can train after work, but you can only advance that fast. You have to be patient. Patience is key to learn and make it solid also, and not skipping steps. As well in Flair, you don't want to, it happens with kids in the new generations. They're like, how is that 2-tin, 1-bottle move, or that 3-bottle move? And you see them doing performance, and they nail those tricks, and they're gonna do a simple move with 1 bottle and they drop it. So that means it's something on the base that needs to be worked. Because sometimes if you advance, then you have to go back. So it's the same in cocktails. You don't give someone that started drinking, you just, hey, here's a Negroni. You start easy. You start with Campari, Americano, you build it up. Same way as you don't try to accelerate and cut corners. It has to go through a process.
I'm very conscious of time, and I'm just thinking, does anyone in the room, is that all right? Does anyone in the room have any questions? Because we've got a packed house here.
Hey, Christian. Firstly, thank you. Fantastic to hear you talk, and thank you for sharing your philosophy. It's been, I think for a lot of us, amazing to hear you kind of share those stories.
Thank you.
My question, probably leading on from what you just said, is what a new bartender, a young bartender that you have, what are the fundamentals, what are the first things that you teach them? What are the kind of things that you get into them first?
Fundamentals in general? Okay, so it would be one of them focused on customer service, on the guest first, on hospitality. That's number one. The other one, be patient. Patience is the key. Always surround yourself with people that knows more than you, and try to learn. Don't be scared of asking. No one knows everything just from the start. So you need to learn somehow at one point. So if you don't know something, just ask. Don't be scared, if I ask, they're gonna think that I don't know. Well, you don't know. If you don't know, just ask. That's the only way to find out and get better. And be humble. Keep yourself humble. Because remember, there's always something to learn. The time that you think that you know it all, you become mediocre. Like that you stop learning. So you always learn something every day, even in a speak or in a talk about service or hospitality. Sometimes I've been in those, you're working at a hotel and they do orientation for the second time every year. And when you sit down, you for 4 hours listen to it. Oh, I know. Oh, I forgot about that. You learn something. Or you remember, you refresh something that you thought you knew, but you forgot. So there's always room to learn, always.
I think, we don't want to be those people, but I think we're going to be those people. Because what if we manage to find 2 bottles and a blade magically?
It was amazing because I was like, this is the first time in my life I do a job that I don't flip something.
Yeah.
Oh, small ones. Do you have big ones? Like big ones, the Campari?
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
I got the water.
Oh no, we're just doing we were talking about bottle.
The opening. Oh,
super fast.
See.
Okay, I could try. The only thing is, I don't know if I will be able to do it here, because this is not too
You need
steady.
a solid spot.
And this is this is not my bottle opener. But I'll do the rest. So the technique is.
You need a table, no? Or on the chair? No.
No.
Wait. Let me get it on the right. Let me.
Hold on, it's a weird reach. I don't have a reach. No, maybe I hold two in my hands.
Yes, yes.
This is
I
just
think
two.
This is better.
Yeah.
This
Because
is
the
better.
four, I'm afraid on the four.
Yes.
You ready? You got it. I hope I do it now. Every time I'm under pressure, I miss. Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Salute. Grazie.
And I think that is the perfect way to end the second day of the Campari
This has
Academy
been
Sweet Talks.
a lot of fun. The sweet talks have been epic. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.